It is a beautiful day for some DSA, and welcome back into the Cozy Club, my friends. My name is Cozy Gamer, and it's that time again, my friends. We've got the hot and rising characters of January. In this series, I like to observe the characters that are on the rise within the meta and getting better and better. And we just had the Cozy Cup, the first round, and a lot of these characters, we saw some of the top players within DSA use, and a lot of these characters are definitely on the rise. So for today's video, guys, we're going to be going through 10 characters that I see going and soaring up the meta. You guys can safely invest in as they're going to be, used more and more, not only within live PvP, but some of these a lot better within the raid. Now, we just had the Wilds video, we had the Scar video. You guys might see a few names that we just talked about, but that's because they're on the rise, my friends. So let's go ahead, let's jump on over and take a look at our first character, guys. Keep in mind, we do have the next rounds of the Cozy Cup going on Wednesday and Friday, and if you guys haven't seen it, we've got the highlights coming up. Absolute blast. You guys can check that out in the description below in the Twitch channel. But let's go ahead, hop into the top rising characters, starting with SHERE. Now, we did just talk about the wild characters and the ones that are on the rise currently. Really, we're going to be focusing on some of those that did get refreshed and rebuffed. We talked about it in the last video. Absolutely love when old characters get refreshed, and how can we not put SHERE on this list? Now, SHERE already was a pretty good character, and now with this, what looked at first to be kind of a nerf is definitely a buff overall. And this character, very solid to use within not only the raids, but live PvP. You're going to get some really nice damage with Element of Surprise in the raids. And in live PvP, if you build a team around SHERE, definitely going to be super useful and definitely a solid character. Now, it's someone I don't use all the time, but he has a lot of great mechanics. If you like kind of these assassin, hard-hitting characters, SHERE is definitely the cat for you. Let's go ahead and jump on over to our next character that is rising up the list in January, my friends, and that is going to be POCAHONTAS. Now, I know it's cold for most of you guys where you live, but in here in sunny San Diego, it is hot, and these characters are hot and rising, and POCAHONTAS is joining her fellow wild SHERE. Now, Poca is definitely an interesting character for many reasons. Colors of the Wind is something that makes her very, very well in the raids and the Forbidden Depths, but also Spirit of the Deer is something that makes her great in live PvP. Now, I'm unable at the moment to make her work consistently at top meta play, but definitely a very solid character, free-to-play character, and definitely one to pair up with your Frozen Squad outside of Olaf to use within Club Conquest. Liking all aspects of Poca, let's go ahead and take a look at some of these specials. The Spirit of the Wolf here, very solid ability overall. You can give offense up, you can give speed turn meter, kind of like Ana, and if they're wilds, they're going to benefit more. And if you guys want to see more on POCAHONTAS, we did talk about her on the last Wilds refresh video, but Poca is definitely on the rise. Her leadership's lacking speed, but it kind of, without speed, it is gaining everything else. So very excited about Poca being really just a great character. And the princesses, guys, I have a feeling we're going to make a complete princess video here pretty soon because of all these princesses that are just getting ridiculously good. And we're going to talk about some of those today. So POCAHONTAS, SHERE, those are your first two characters on the rise. Let's jump on over to the third character that we're going to talk about today, and that is going to be the big, the thick MAUI. Now, MAUI finally came back, and half the reason he's on the rise is because you can get him again. Now, one of the most unaccessible characters in the game, for some reason, him and Moana are just not easily accessible. I saw him in the pass holder, so you can grab some more shards there. But MAUI is starting to rise up. When he first came out, a little bit too slow, pretty thick, and offered some great abilities. Has that big, huge AoE stun, super advantageous. He can go ahead and assist people with his basic, and he can steal turn meter, but he's getting better and better, especially towards the top end, and he's going to be a reliable tank for you to use throughout your DSA journey. Now, the things that he can do, first of all, we talked about this back in December, I believe, but his passive no longer can be silenced. So you're going to get that invincibility. We saw a match from the Cozy Cup where somebody won because the counters that were being, brought to him from the Sensational 6 characters, MAUI just ignored completely. And we're going to be talking about another Oceanic down the line in this video, but MAUI pairs up perfectly with that guy as well. You can shadow an invincibility MAUI just to cause frustration to the enemy, and altogether, very thick, and his leadership, even without speed, is starting to work near the end cap at gear 8 especially. Mine's only at gear 7, but at gear 8 definitely starting to work, and Maui is one to fit in. The Oceanics people are thinking are falling off, but they're not, guys. They're not at all. Oceanics can be used. They do have to be paired up with Hero and Baymax for the most part, but I've seen some top-end all T8 Oceanic teams, which is a nice, pleasant surprise. Keep in mind, guys, as we talk about on most videos, we do talk about tier 8 for a lot of these, but I'm going to disclaimer here. We talk about this so that you guys know what's safe to invest into the long run, and typically what's good at in-game is going to be great in mid and early game, outside of some characters like Big Bad Wolf that scale a little bit differently, but for the most part, you guys can go ahead and rest assured that these characters are going to be good at the level that you're at. Let's go to the next character on the rise, my friends, and that is GOGO. Now, a lot of you might be asking, all right, GOGO Cozy has been great for a while. Why is she on the rise in January? And it's an easy answer. If you guys watched even a minute of the Cozy Cup yesterday, you guys did not miss GOGO. You can't, because a GA or tier 8 GOGO was in just about every single lineup. I cannot stress this enough. Right now, this might be one of the best characters in the game. I mean, let's just say it. Free to play has Hero Hamada with the leadership ability, and you guys can already stack on that. Dash is a great character for the raids, but if you think about it, you've got a Hero Hamada, pair that up with a GOGO, and GOGO's able, it doesn't matter. If you were free to play and you only had Hero and GOGO at G8, you're still going to be able to take out a lot of the top teams out there, because the first two opening moves, 0 resistance, the damage from here, absolutely insane. Her stats, her speed, I have an attack stone, and her speed is still at 130. Her attack's at 2704. Woman up, insane ability that's unavoidable through the evades. Welcome to the Nerd Lab. Amazing passive. Altogether, GOGO cannot be recommended enough. Definitely gonna be rising on the tier list, which, guys, the January tier list coming next week. Want to see if we're getting new characters this week before we made a new one. Let's keep it going, guys. GOGO, definitely great investment. Let's get on over to Scar, who is going to be our next rising character. Let's pull up the graphic there. Guys, we already talked about Scar previously. We talked about this bad mamma jamma on a video about 2 videos ago, and if you guys have missed out, Scar is absolutely electric. Him with Bubbles make for one of the most fun teams, and again, very unaccessible character, but because of his shoot through the meta and being able to use him in any level of gameplay, early, mid, and late game, Scar is definitely a hot riser in January. Even though in the cold months, Scar is on fire with his Long Live the King passive ability, able to do some really nice things with that overall, and very excited that a villain is here. Now, he does better with blinds on the field. That's going to pair perfectly with Ursula down the line. Ursula could be on this rising characters chart. A lot of you guys don't have her. We're going to leave her off, and we have her own spotlight just for Ursula. But definitely, obviously, rising character. Ursula's great, and you guys knew that. We made a video on that. But overall, the reason I like Scar, like we talked about, is big investment to unlock him, minimal investment as far as beta and move-wise. And so, really liking Scar, what he can do. His hyenas need a little bit of a touch-up, but his fellow wilds got a touch-up, and let's see if there's any more wilds to come. All right, let's hop on over to probably one of my most favorite characters in the game that definitely we just don't talk about enough, even though we all know that he's really good. And my friends, that is going to be your next rising character. That is Stitch, my friends. Guys, Stitch is... whew, we don't talk about him enough. He came out back in July. We talked about him a while back then. But Stitch, this is the time to use him, guys. The Triton and Stitch Towers really like the flow of those events because they come by a lot, right? They come by very often. But Stitch is able... this is the time to use him because of the big Hero 6 meta that we continue to find ourselves to be in. Charge is such a huge mechanic that we see in so many different gameplays. Gantu, you've got it with Manicore, and then obviously all the tech heroes. And so, or most of the tech heroes. Stitch is able to consistently win battles almost by himself. Pair him up with Bubbles, and you're looking at a character by himself extremely solid. I can use Stitch at max gameplay and win on any team. His basic can build up. He's got that Super Saiyan mode, the Stitch Assassin as we used to call him. His passive's great. Blue Punch Buggy only got better, and Stop Touching Me is a great freaking ability. Everything that he does is useful in the battlefield. Really liking Stitch, and he's definitely more on the rise. If you have Stitch, use him now because this is the best time that you're going to be able to use Stitch. Now, when you do max him out, Blue Punch Buggy gains speed speed turn meter, which we talked about pairing that up with Ursula with her eels. And he's going to get turn meter per oceanic out there. Those eels count. So definitely something really good to pair up with Ursula for you late game players. Let's go ahead and get to the last 4 characters on the rising characters. And this one, my friends, is going to be MERIDA. Now, we already talked about MERIDA, and honestly, this chick deserves her own spotlight video. There's so many mechanics to MERIDA, but if you guys saw my Twitter video, you can see the damage that this girl lays out. This princess is going to be a big puzzle piece to the princess faction. Just like we talked about Stitch and Maui together, MERIDA paired up with Pocahontas, MERIDA paired up with Mulan, who should be on this list too. Insane. Absolutely insane. Now, her basic attack is just probably one of the best pieces of her kit. Rain of arrows, pretty good. Don't use it as much because you're going to want to use Choose Your Fate, and Will-O-Wisp, absolutely insane. MERIDA can fit in so many different teams and work with a lot of the teams that you already worked for. So a character that if it's a side project, whatever you want to do with MERIDA, make sure that you try to farm her or at least invest in her a little bit, because in my opinion, Wilds and Princess characters are on the rise in January, and in February, don't be surprised if we're looking at some wild meta teams. I think it's absolutely possible. All right, let's get to the last 3. This one's not going to shock anyone. He should have been here for a while now. Mickey Theodore Mouse. You guys already know Mickey Mouse. Absolutely insane. We talk about him plenty on this channel. But he is on the rise because he is in every single top-in team for the most part. Now, that's for 2 main reasons. Yes, Disneyland Forever is his big hot ability, the rising ability that everybody loves to see and can single-handedly determine matches. We had the best match the other day in the Cozy Cup, but altogether is looking very solid. One thing we're going to talk about, we talked about with MERIDA, Stitch. If you guys notice, there's a little bit of a common theme in this hot and rising January video, and that is basic attack characters. Basic attacks are continuing to be the thing that determines the battlefield, and that's really laying down some pretty epic damage altogether. As you can see, you can look at MERIDA with the big damage. What Mickey's going to do is call them all together, and that's going to lead us to our last couple of characters. Again, common theme here. Barley could have easily been on this rising character list, but we had the Barley Bombs. We're seeing, if you're not doing Barley Bombs yet, you're doing something wrong, guys. Barley Bombs are obviously the name of the game. You got to do them. They're definitely a big punch-up ability. You can take out the best teams with the Barley Bomb Elsa, Barley Bomb GOGO. But I like Mickey because altogether calls everybody to use their basic attacks, and that flows perfectly with Disneyland Forever. Mickey Mouse, if you haven't decided to go after him and Beast is really the decision that you've got to make. It's a tough call. Either way, you got to look at what you have on your roster, if it's kingdom focused or if you want to go more for the overall plug and play ability. Mickey Theodore is going to be the answer for that. Let's get to the last 2 characters, my friends, and that is going to be Miss Belle. Now, we talk about Belle. I talk about Belle, I feel like, all the time on this channel, and this is not Belle. This is not Belle at all. That is Anna. We're going to be talking about Belle here. Belle. I cannot talk enough about this princess. First of all, she's that basic calling character that we talked about, but an absolute threat on the field that people choose to ignore. I don't know why people are choosing to ignore her, but the top end players are all using Belle right now because of her basic attack and because of her passive enchanted mirror. Now, with her basic, you can set up that kill spot to be, let's say, MERIDA, throwing out those adjacent arrows over and over, and then you're also going to have beast assist with that each and every time. If you have Mulan, she's going to join in on the action. Belle can do so much for your team, and is one, in my opinion, if you're free to play, go grab yourself a Belle. You're not going to regret it because she makes other characters better. Just like Barley, she's got a great cleanse and enchanted rose. Show Me the Beast has intimidate and shaken, very strong debuffs. And enchanted mirror is going to give you the chance to hop in front of your opponent with the speed turn meter in battle because of the mechanic that works with it altogether. All right, guys, lastly, you already saw a little bit of a teaser with it. We've got our last character today, and that is Anna. Now, we talk about Anna a good amount, especially early on. Very solid character in the S tier. She went down to A, up to S, down to A, kind of floating all around. But Anna, it continues to be a very solid character because of her basic and some things never change. And this is the way, guys. All of her abilities, super, super useful in battle. Like we talked about, Fierce Flame, you want to use that basic attack. You want to call characters that are strong hitting characters like Beast, like MERIDA, like Stitch. And you can get a chain going if Belle is calling Anna, who then can call another character. Elsa obviously pairs up perfectly with her. We already know about Elsa's strength in the game and how amazing she is. But Anna continues to be on the rise as well, my friends. So let's go ahead and hop back over to the main screen one more time. Guys, that is going to do it for the hot and rising characters of January, guys. Hopefully you guys are staying warm wherever you might be. We're here in sunny San Diego, but we went through the hot characters, guys. We're gonna be bringing the tier list to you later, probably next week, and then we've got team guides, raid guides coming right at you as well. But we've been doing a lot of focus in the Cozy Cup, so if you're not there and you haven't missed out, go ahead, check the description down below. Join the Cozy Cup Wednesday and Friday. Absolutely epic battles. And my friends, if you haven't already, join the Cozy Club. Subscribe today. We're on our way to 11,000 subs, guys. You guys are absolutely killer. Enjoy the day, and until next time, my friends, stay cozy.